trying to make sure everything's working. Looks like it's working. Shall see. Jason and Bianca now. Should work. Let's see.
Holy smokes! Can you hear me? Hello? Revis? Check, check. Can you hear me? This thing's supposed to work. Maybe it doesn't have headphones. Can you hear me? Excuse me. That's weird. Hello?
What about now? Yeah, that one.
There you go. I can hear B. I can hear Greg. I can hear B.
Yay!
Yeah.
I just realized Locked and Loaded is a gun reference.
All right, I can't hear any of you guys. Hold on.
I can hear you. I can hear Greg.
I can hear Jason.
Yeah, is that working? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Jason and I can hear Greg.
I can hear Greg and Bianca.
Awesome. All right. Oh, wow, that's really
Can
loud.
everybody hear everybody?
I think so. I think we're good on that front now.
You get
B, can you
another
hear
hat
me?
made?
Yes! Is that
Awesome.
another hat?
Did you get another hat made?
Did I?
hear some. Yeah.
No, it's the same one.
Huh. Looks better.
Hold on. Now I lost you, Jason. I don't know what happened.
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you again.
Weird.
Bianca, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I miss you guys.
Did you get new headphones, Greg? What's going on?
Yeah, I got new headphones, but I can't get them to work for some reason. I think that's
weird.
what threw me
I
off.
screwed up.
So we'll see. Keep talking, guys.
Okay, Jason, tell us what's going on. I'm so curious.
I am so curious too. We're recording though, are we? Well, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt anything. Oh yeah, don't tell us that. Don't tell us that until afterwards.
It's all public.
Okay,
it's all public. It's all public now, and that's one of my greats. Like one of my gratitudes is how awesome. But I don't want to spoil that.
Yeah, don't.
I'll save it for. Yeah, I'll save it for the gratitude. But then, yeah, we can talk about stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, don't spoil it.
Moving. Yeah, we're moving. We're moving to at the end of March. Well, in the middle of March, to California, and I'm going to be the men's pastor northeast of the well. I started that ministry like a decade ago, and it was like underneath St. Andrews. Do you remember that? B. It was like right after you visited, I got switched over to missions, and I started working with recovery folk. You know, people in halfway houses and that kind of stuff. And then the ministry grew, and then I went to be a youth pastor over in San Marino. And then when I did that, Laura, my old boss, took it, separated it from St. Andrews, made it its own 5031C, whatever, its own ministry, and launched 2 other locations where it happens. And her cohort, or like her teammate, this girl named Emily, got really good at writing grants and requesting for money. So it has it's just been growing on every level, and it's growing into what Homeboy. It's growing towards like Homeboy Cafe-ish kind of stuff. And what's your Seattle thing?
Recovery Cafe.
Recovery Cafe. Yeah. It's right now. It's just it has the ministries in 3 different sites, but they're looking around for a location to start something that's kind of like Homeback Cafe or Recovery Cafe.
Cool.
Yeah, and I'm the men's dude. Yeah,
so it's Newport.
Newport, Long Beach, and Anaheim, right by Disneyland.
And so where would you guys live?
We're gonna live it. It looks like we're gonna rent a place in Huntington Beach.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Remember we had lunch there.
Do you remember? Yeah. Do you remember a guy named Jeremy Searcy and his wife Brianna? We're
Yeah.
gonna live. We're gonna live. I'm gonna see his front door from my front door. Like he's found a place to rent that's like right near his.
That's
Hopefully
so
all
cool.
that works out. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. It's kind
Oh
of
my
crazy.
gosh. In like a month.
Yeah, in a month. In less than a month. The 11th is the last day here. March 11th.
And they
So
know
not
that?
less than a month. More than a month. Yeah,
Yeah.
they know that. And I'll start with that one. Is my gratitude.
That makes sense.
Who goes in what level?
Yeah, B, what do you got? Did you have it written down?
Oh yeah. Well, yep. Get my butt.
But
I'm happy.
I think we. At first, I want to see it. Like I just love your faces. I've missed you.
I know
guys.
we haven't
Like,
talked to you guys in forever. It's ridiculous.
I know.
Last time it looked on our little Google Hangout, it was 12, 19, 17.
Yeah, we
I
did them all
know.
before. We did them all before Christmas, so
Yeah.
we got a while.
Well, I'm looking back at the one before that, the real one, 12,
Yeah.
13.
Well, I don't think it doesn't matter now. I think it's been enough time, and we could say this is like season 2, episode 1, so we can start.
Yeah.
Let's all start in our favorite spots.
I do not want to intro.
We can't all go third. That's the problem.
I don't want to pick or intro. I'll go
All right,
first.
I'll intro,
Okay.
and then Jason, you pick. We'll let Bianca go second this time.
Okay. And oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I didn't think of a B-side.
That was possibly times. Like, did
Oh
you hear
wait,
that? Mike,
no, I wrote one down. No, I
Mike-
wrote one down. I wrote one down. Hold on. This
I
was like
wrote
a
one
couple
down like
weeks ago.
6 years ago.
I did. Hold up. Wait a minute.
Ugh, I just
Oh,
was
no,
snowblind. Man, it's snowing like crazy out
Your
here.
videos have been nuts, dude.
It's been
All right.
gnarly.
I'm introing,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
then B will go first.
Okay.
Usually
I go second.
the intro person goes first, but we can do that.
No, I don't think so because I think it's too much
Yeah.
talking for the
Yeah,
intro.
me too. I think we should
Yeah.
change it.
I think we should too.
So I intro it. B goes first. Jason goes third and picks.
Got it.
All right, I like that. And that's how we'll start this time, and then we'll all go down one the next time, or like back
Season
up.
2.
Okay.
Season
Season
2.
two. episode
Greg,
one.
you never posted the TV show one.
Yeah, I the sound quality on some of those were pretty bad.
Oh, okay. I see.
So when I got listening to it, I was like, I don't know if this is worth trying to. Do you guys like my "This is the end of the year" as we know it?
Yes, I forgot
pretty
to
happy with myself
comment
with that
on
one.
that.
It
That
didn't
was
sound
good.
great, but I was still like, I'm still gonna try.
I know.
It made
Like,
me laugh.
why did you? Yeah, the fact that you like turned the music down was like perfect. I was like, why would he? Oh, because it's funnier.
That was the
Excuse me.
reason.
That was a good reason.
That's hilarious.
Okay, hold on. Let me. Well, I guess I don't have to write it down because I have it on my phone. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
ready.
You have
for
your
it.
B side ready?
Yeah, and I'm not sure if I want my third thing to be like.
I stopped
this-
hearing you for some reason. B.
Oh,
I can hear. I think it's
this
your headphones.
super
Jason, you
silly
can still
thing.
hear? Okay, so it's my headphones. Yeah. All right.
Oy vey.
Can you hear me now? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I got you.
4.
I got you.
Testing,
It's
testing.
my stupid headphones. When I sat on the cord, they went out. Apparently, there's a short in this cord, so I have to be careful. It is definitely a technical problem. Ah, this is exciting. We get to start again.
I know. Hold on. Let me just make sure I didn't already mention this thing. Did we do
It's been
books?
2 months. There's no way. Yeah, we did do
There's
books.
no way.
Yeah, there's not because I read it over one of the trips in the talk. Okay.
I actually didn't
literally
write any of
only
these down
did-
because I wasn't sure we were ever going to actually record. So
Me too.
I just wrote them down this morning.
I
Okay.
know, I
we're
have
doing it old
20.
school today, man. We're doing it old
Yeah.
school.
Do it old school, right?
I know. I bet you get some 10 million each, though. That's the thing.
All right, awesome. Can you guys be quiet for 4 seconds and then I can start the.
It's gonna be a challenge.
Never mind. I know the answer to that question already. I don't know why I even asked.
Look at our mug. It says B.
It's
Yes,
a
it
Christmas
does.
gift from a
I
family.
love it.
That's awesome. That's a good size mug too. That or your face is very tiny.
No, it's a huge mug. It's a huge mug.
You can fit
Excuse
it
me. I ordered the
A
large.
large cappuccino.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, she knows.
Okay, I'm gonna finish it so I don't make any like noises with that. Okay. You go, Greg.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to This Week in Gratitude. This is Season 2, Episode 1. We are excited to be back. We haven't talked to each other in like a whole year. I guess that's not true, but we haven't talked to each other since last year, and we're excited about this. It's super good to see everybody. It's super good to touch base. I am Greg. I'm in San Antonio. I'm joined by my good friend Jason Griffiths in Muskegon, Michigan, and my okay friend Bianca Quezada in Seattle, Washington. It's so good to be back, guys. I'm really excited to do this again, and this is our regular format. I know a lot of people enjoyed the bonus episodes, and it's just been crazy trying to get our schedules back together ever since 2018 started. But we are back, and we'll get back to some kind of rhythm so you can get some of these back in your life. But I'm glad to have you guys back in my life. How are you guys doing?
Doing well.
Great.
Great
and well.
I think it's understated. Yeah, great podcast. We're off to a rageous start. Man, you got a lot of juice in your energy right there at the beginning. I think it's understated. I think January is actually the busiest month for pastors. I think that
Not December.
I think not December. I think I'm surprised by that every single year, every single time. It's just
it's right on the heels of Advent and Christmas. Yeah. That throws you off kind of, right?
Yeah, and then there's always an annual meeting, and there's just stuff to get going. I don't know. I've been way busier. That's 90% of the reason why we haven't been able to connect.
Yes. Yeah. So send your angry emails and tweets to Jason and stop sending them to Bianca and I. We didn't do anything about it. If Jason wasn't the talent that he is, though, Bianca and I would have just recorded ourselves. But that's all right.
Yeah, we're only okay.
Like all over the world and everything, though, so it hasn't even been able to talk to you either.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's right. You have been cruising.
Yeah.
Well, we might as well just launch right into it.
Okay.
Yeah,
for those of you who don't know the program, or you're just joining us, we're just three friends, and we're all pastors, and we just talk about what it's like to be in ministry and what things are interesting to us, and particularly things that we're grateful for, things that God's given us that we want to reflect on a little bit with each other and hear what the other people have to tell us. And if you like it, subscribe, please. That helps. And if you do subscribe, then we'll be your friends forever. Mm-hmm. And then make sure you tell your friends, throw it on Facebook, send it on Twitter, whatever you do with that stuff, pass it around and make sure people know about it. This year, guys, this is a big news. I don't know. Apple finally released the ability to track your podcast on iTunes. So up until now, we've never been able to know exactly how many listeners we have or how long they listen to each episode or anything like that. So they're still in the beta program, but we have access to it. So we get to find out who's actually listening, if anyone's listening, and then we can actually get some numbers in place, set some goals. And so Jason, this might be the year we get the t-shirts. It might actually happen.
Yes.
It might actually happen. Hey, when you guys are like cheering and nodding and laughing, if you're not doing it by your microphone, nobody at home knows that that's happening.
I know.
So they think you're just talking for no reason.
That was
intentional. Stop lecturing us,
because you have a good radio voice right there, and so I just I didn't want to ruin that pattern, but I was just pumped.
Me too. So anyway, I'm excited to find out if people are actually listening to this and how and in what ways and all that kind of stuff. So
and I want the record to show that I don't care. If
Bianca doesn't care. Bianca really doesn't want to listen. Better that way. I care. One of the reasons is because I think like if we have some level of listenership, we can probably start getting t-shirts and hats and stuff, right, Jason?
Amen.
Been the goal from the beginning. So our only goal from the beginning was could someday we get a t-shirt. So if you want this program to end, you just have to send Jason a t-shirt, and we'll be done podcasting forever. That's been his only goal.
The day I get a t-shirt in the mail is the day we hang up our hat.
Yeah. So, if you're new to the program, we each go through three of our favorite things we're grateful for, and then at the very end this week, Jason will pick his top 5 of those 3 things, and at some point we may have a surprise B-side today. So all things to look forward to. Bianca, you want to get us started?
Yeah, I will. I am going to start with one of the aforementioned trips I took this January. A few weeks ago, I went down to Houston, Texas for Hurricane Harvey relief with some folks from my church at University Presbyterian Church in Seattle. And so it ended up being me and my mom and then a bunch of grandpas from the church who just have a heart for contracting and houses, and they sign up on a lot of mission trips together, and it was cool to watch them work. So yeah, we and I also used to live in Houston. My mom also used to live in Houston. I used to live with my mom in Houston when I was younger. And so just being back and being able to help out where we can. We were only down there for a week, but we met an awesome family. We heard their story. We're continuing to pray for them. They were kind of on a deadline to get out of their temporary situation and back in their house. We still not sure how that's going to work, but it's coming. And so we were just a little cog in that machine to get the house back ready for it to be livable again. Their story is crazy about when the hurricane hit. And that's just one of thousands, if not millions, of stories of what happened there. And so I was just happy to be a little bit a part of it. I'm grateful for that. It was an awesome trip. And don't forget about the people in Houston and Puerto Rico for that matter either. But that's my first thing to be grateful for this year.
That's an awesome trip.
You went with your mom, right?
Yeah, I went with my mom. We went with a group called Experience Mission. But we signed up together, and then just anyone from the church could sign up. And it ended up being a bunch of like older men who know how to like build a house and have extra time and stuff. And they sign up. They usually sign up together as a group, and so they've done a bunch of mission trips together. And one of my coworkers was supposed to go, but she got sick, so it was me and my mom and these grandpas, and then one woman who was a cook, but she never came to the site. She was always back at the church.
And was it how long was it for?
It was 5 or 6 days. I was there for 5 days. The group went earlier than me because I have Sunday school on Sundays. So, and we got back. Yeah, it was all the first full week of January for everybody. Yeah, so it was really fun. It was good to be back, and just I even heard like the Uber drivers or the Lyft drivers story too. I just was asking everybody, where were you? How did it affect you, the hurricane? And you know, it's just amazing to hear about the resilience. My cousins were also in it, and my aunt and uncle. So just kind of getting a feel for what it was like to be in such a kind of from one minute to the next kind of a devastating situation.
Sure. What was the best part of like having your mom there?
It was good. I led some of the devotionals since I am an ordained minister.
Did you put your robe on? Tell me you put your robe on.
Yep, I brought my robe and my certificate. No, just kidding. Yeah, so I led some of the devotionals, which was just cool to like lead people who actually cared about the devotionals. Usually I'm leading middle schoolers and I'm like, hey, pay attention, go do some quiet time. But these adults were like, you know, like speaking back about like what they were learning that day and stuff. It was kind of cool. So anyway, having my mom there, she, you know, mentioned that it was, you know, she loves me and loves having watched me be, you know, come down this path over the years, but to be able to see me work with all ages, she mentioned to the whole group that it was really powerful for her to see that. So, I mean, without my mom there, she wouldn't have done anything. She's never been on a mission trip before. So, to be on one and then for me to be there with her was just amazing. I mean, it was unlike other mission trips for a lot of reasons, but that one was the most noticeable and for me the most memorable. When I think about the trip, I'm like, oh yeah, my mom was there. It's the first thing I think of. And then everything else just kind of fills in after that. Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's powerful.
You forget that mission trips haven't been something people have done always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Like they're new, like in like the late 70s or something. But oh man, that's awesome.
And do you watch that show Amazing Race?
I've seen it.
The only reason, like, it's crazy because Amazing Race, they just go all around the world, and it feels like a mission trip to me. Like I don't know, like Anyway, it always draws my attention to, like, we forget that so many people haven't experienced like the pastor being a pastor. You know, like I don't know. I have such a disconnect at that part because there's these parts of the Amazing Race where they're looking around for some random thing in some random country, but that's every single one of us, you know, as pastors on a mission trip. Like, always like I need I need a weird sized battery for this remote. Like or like this garage door opener or something. I always find myself on these mission trips, like trying to find like the weirdest thing. Anyway.
Yeah.
I love that though. That's true, Jason.
Who would you take as your partner on Amazing Grace if it was a family member? Jay?
I think I would, it would probably the most fights, but I think I would take my older brother. I think we would have the hardest time like getting along, but
you might win.
Yeah, I think he would push to win, like he would drag me to win, I think if me and Andrew went on it, we'd just mess around and we'd be like, we'd ditch the game.
Yeah, you need to have somebody who's super competitive, Jason.
Yeah. Me and Andrew would just sit down in a cafe and just drink lattes, or
you'd be out right away.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I think I'd take my brother. I think that's but it's the same problem. We would definitely hate each other, but we'd have a chance to win at least.
Yeah.
What about you?
I don't know.
I guess I would take my sister. We've traveled together, so I know what our hangups are. But now that she's traveled a lot, like world travel, she's got like some skills I don't have. What? I know. Okay, let's move on to number 2.
Hey, the best non-family member though would be Allie Melancon, right?
Oh yeah. She can build you a boat if you need her.
Yeah, exactly. She would crush it. So
she could build you a plane, probably.
Shout out to Allie. All right, my number 1 is a goofy one because I figured, what the heck, might as well start there. Me and my older guys and Abby rewatched The Wedding Singer.
Oh, and, classic!
I think people forget how funny that movie is. That movie is really funny. Like severely underrated movie, but
it is.
There's so many great lines in that movie. That
great soundtrack.
It was fun to watch my kids see some of those lines, like realize that we've been quoting them to them for a long time without knowing where they came from. Anyway, it was fun, and it was fun to remind them that Adam Sandler used to be funny.
Yeah,
I think he could still be funny again. I have hope, but I also think Tiger Woods could still win another tournament. So we'll see what happens.
You're in your own little world over there.
I'm strangely optimistic about these things. It doesn't make sense.
I quote that Julia Gulia line all the time.
Julia Gulia.
Why'd that be funny? I don't know. And then that short little scene with John Lovitz is still
that's the best.
We had girls overnight last weekend and we watched Napoleon Dynamite, and I think I blew their mind.
Yeah,
they didn't know movies could be like that.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Like it's they don't make movies that kind of movie anymore. Because like The Wedding Singer is legitimately funny on all the comedy levels you would want it to be funny, but it's not like gross out humor anywhere really. And like I don't know.
Like what's the word? Like I want to say this is not the right word. It's like dull humor. It's like dull. It's not like
it's not really sharp, and it's not based on like awkwardness or like social mores, or like there's some of that, right? There's a little bit of the awkwardness because like his backup singer's the Boy George guy and all that kind of, like there's some awkward stuff, and Steve Buscemi's character is great.
Every Adam
better man. So, I don't know, but I just like, but I was thinking of Napoleon Dynamite too, right? Like the same kind of like, I don't know, I haven't seen a comedy in a long time that's current. That's like, oh yeah, that hits all those buttons for me.
Yeah.
There are some that are funny still. Like I laugh at some new stuff, but it's not the same.
Yeah. Maybe
I don't know. But I really liked Wedding Singer. It was a blast. It was fun to rewatch it, and so it made my list for this week.
Good pick. Good pick.
Next one's Wayne's World, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, your next picker.
Yeah. No, not my next. Not my next.
But my next, down every movie I watch.
Like, yeah. So my brother got me like
in 10 minutes. I'm gonna say Wayne's World.
Yeah, just know that now. Yeah, my brother got me a gift card, or our family a gift card from Amazon, and so I just bought a bunch of movies that I wanted the kids to see that you can't find anywhere really. So, did either of you guys ever watch the movie Undercover Blues?
That sounds really funny. Is that Nick Nolte?
No, it's
Undercover.
Randy Quaid, I think. No, I don't know, the good-looking Quaid, Dennis Quaid.
I didn't know that one. Yeah,
It's Dennis Quaid and Kathleen.
It's crazy
Turner
they come from the same family.
Yeah, I know. But they so Kathleen Turner and Dennis Quaid play these like super spies who are on like parental leave because they just had a baby, and so there's just some really funny stuff in that movie. So it takes place in
Rosie O'Donnell
anyway.
in that movie.
Who?
Am I thinking Rosie O'Donnell? Am I thinking of the right movie?
You're definitely thinking of a different movie. Anyway, it was a fun movie. That was another one that was on the list. So, all right, and Wayne's World's next. So there you go.
We watched Wayne's World over Christmas. That's
does it hold up? It's still pretty funny, right?
Gosh, it is. Yeah. Oh man, it's good. I still want every once you're 12 or 13, you have to watch it.
Right.
No matter what, it doesn't matter what the generation is like.
Abby and I were just having this conversation.
Movie.
She's like, I don't know if they're old enough to watch Wayne's World. I'm like, old enough? I saw it when I was like in 7th grade.
Yeah, it's good. I don't know about ages, but I mean, watching it again as an adult, I'm like, this is a great movie. I'm glad that I have this seeped into my blood.
Yes, I agree. It makes you a better person, B.
Makes you a better person.
There's no question. All right, Jason, what do you got for us?
All right, my first one, I'm moving. You guys already know that. My church already knows that. And my first one is actually, I'm the head pastor of McGrath currently, and I'm going to be the new men's head pastor, the men's pastor of Northeast of the Well. It's a recovery ministry back in California. But my actual first one that I'm grateful for is McGrath Memorial Congregational Church, the church that I'm serving at, are such amazing, mature followers of Jesus. And they're ministering to me from the first day to last. Being a pastor, I've moved around a bunch and I've said goodbye and hello to different calls. And there seems to be, because it's kind of a natural thing that when you leave a church, it's kind of like leaving a family. And the family instinctually starts to revert and acts. And I think it has to do with just maybe me being older and maybe the earlier times leaving, me being younger and not as compassionate in the way that I said goodbye. But it seems like all the other churches that I've left, they've been larger churches. So maybe that's a factor. But all the times leaving, the churches have reverted back and started acting like toddlers and kind of just lashing out. And there was always kind of anger and just kind of mean-spiritedness, as that it's counterintuitive that it shouldn't show up in the church. That's what I feel like, but it just does. It's just because it's a family, that kind of thing. But as I've been saying goodbye to McGrath, this is next level. These are next level followers of Jesus, and they're just so much more mature in their faith, and they really see the big picture of my family, feeling more whole in California. And then they've just expressed gratitude just for the time that I've been with them. And there's just been love upon love upon love. We're going back and I'm going to be being paid less in a more expensive place. So my original idea was to work halfway through March, drive back to the family, and then fly back and preach the rest of March, just so there wouldn't be any non-paid time, and so that I would roll straight into April and start getting paid at my new job. But the McGrath sat down as leadership and said, we want to bless the Griffiths family, even as they're leaving us. So you just drive out with your family. We'll give you your 2 weeks vacation and we'll pay you through the end of March. And it's just stuff like that. It really shows me that, I don't know, that walking with Jesus changes people, and it's just a front row view to these people I've been shepherding the last couple of years are genuinely servant-hearted and genuinely loving and genuinely changed from the inside out. So much so that I think it's shocking. I'm in awe of how mature and how loving and how Christocentric and how Christ-like the church is that I'm supposed to be shepherding is shepherding me, so that's I don't know how you, but I'm just grateful for this Midwestern body of believers that is loving me to like the very end, which is neat. Anyway.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I was thinking, so there's a pastor I heard once talk about leaving a church, and he had said that he wasn't going to leave his church until his church also thought it was a good idea. So that was one of the ways he was going to confirm that it was God's call, right? Like that he would know it was God's call if he felt he should go and the church felt it, and not animosity, but just like in prayer, they're like, yeah, this is the right fit for you. And this is a little bit of that model, I think, which is really cool. I also think the churches that revert back to toddlering or whatever, I know exactly. I do that when I'm about to quit something, right? Like it's we want to break up with you before you break up with us kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is, so it theoretically will hurt less, but then you just get angry and it doesn't solve anything.
Yeah. And it's weird that, I don't know, this is so different because every single place that I've left previous to this, my mind has gone to that second job quicker. And it was just a natural thing. But in this, since they're so loving and they're seeing me, they're still seeing me. They're still seeing that this is best for me and this is best for my family. And this is, it makes me want to, I'm really present in the moment, which is, it's really cool. So it's been, and I put that all back on them. Like, I think they've disarmed me just by saying, we want you to grow and continue. I had one congregant, he pulled me aside and he said, this recovery ministry that you helped start, because I helped start this about a decade ago and now it's just grown. And he said, I think God's calling you back to save a life. And then he stopped me right there and prayed for that life. He just put his hand on my shoulder and just said, I pray for whoever God is going to bring Jason back for. Amen. It was just a quick little boom. And I get goosebumps right now just thinking about it. Just this is good. That's just good stuff. And it makes it a little harder to leave, to be honest. But in another little lesson I'm learning is I'm not all that in a bag of chips, because there's a guy, the interim guy is like, yeah, I'll preach the next week and I'm meeting with him this week. He's just solid, he's like a Bill Saul dude. There's just so many amazing followers of God in this part of the country.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So that's my one.
I'm excited. I have a selfish excitement around that, Jason. I don't know if I should say this, if I should verbalize this or not, but what's great is now that you're going to be back out in California, when our podcast blows up, we can start doing live shows all over LA. So.
Oh, shit.
Oh, my.
There you go, B.
Quite the dreamer.
There it is.
Yeah.
All right.
That's fun.
I was thinking we'd be more in a few time zones instead of all three. We'd only be
Yeah, that's true, though. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Well, Jason's going to be so busy the first few, whatever.
Hey, when you talked to them about the job, you told them like you have to take an hour and a half every week to record a podcast. Right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, good. I'm glad you got in there on the front end. That's good.
Okay, thank you, Jay. I'll jump into my next one, which is another trip I took. I went to Cancun, Mexico. No big deal. My stepsister was getting married a few weekends ago, and I probably wouldn't have made it work because it's so far and it's right at the beginning of when the school year starts back up again. But I had missed my stepbrother's wedding a few years ago, so it kind of made me feel guilty that I wouldn't want to miss both. So I made the time. I turned in the miles. I went for a few days over to Cancun, where my dad. So it's my dad and it's my stepmom's daughter from a previous marriage. So, so I got to see a lot of my stepmom's family, and then obviously my stepbrother was there. And I actually know the husband. They used to be friends. Well, they've been friends, all three of them, that my brother, my sister, and this guy have been friends since like middle school. So I remember this guy when they lived in Arizona, and then, when they lived in Arizona, I would take them all to the movies or whatever. And then eventually he told Lisette, my sister, that I really like you. Let's start dating. And now they're married. And so it's kind of cool that I got to meet his family. I've always known him, but I got to meet his family at the wedding. It was gorgeous. It was on the beach. She insisted it be on the beach, even though it was like kind of rainy and windy. But and then I did some exploring, took some tours with my dad on the days after the wedding. So I got to explore a little of Mexico, and yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome to be there. It was a great hotel, great seeing people, meeting people that I'd heard about but hadn't met before, or re-meeting people that I had met before from my stepmom's family. And I just was really glad to be there.
That's awesome.
Two things.
This is a little less exciting, but I had tacos yesterday. You get to travel everywhere. That's so
I know. Two things. First, I love when Greg is just nodding. He's just like, no. Like, this is wrong. And then the second thing is, I love that piece of you, B, that you go.
What?
Like, you go, you travel. Because I've been here 2 years, and actually my brother-in-law was down in Kalamazoo for 5 years. And how many people visited my brother-in-law? 0. How many people visited me? 2. Bianca and Greg. And I love the fact that you.
And did Allie visit you? I feel like
Allie. Oh yeah, and Allie. Oh yeah, 3.
Trifecta.
But she's just like you, B, in that I love the fact that you just go. Yeah, I think it's key that you're there. It's just it's the ministry of presence. It's the ministry I see you. It's the ministry of you're important. I'm going to put everything I got in my life on pause. I'm going to jump into your world again. I love that. I'm so glad that you go on so many of these trips and you get to see all the world instead of us.
But all right, so this might seem awkward when I bring it up, Beef. Just warning you ahead of time.
What?
I think it's like legitimately an argument for good Christian singleness.
Yeah.
I really do. Like, I think your ministry of presence is like like when Paul talks about, like in 1 Corinthians 7, about devoting yourself to the kingdom, you're able to do that in a different way than Jason and I are able to do it. And I think it's awesome. And sometimes I'm jealous of it. It was like, man, if only I could do some of the stuff Bianca does. But then other times I'm like, that's all right. I get tired.
And you have like these beautiful kids you're watching grow.
But I love it. Like, I do. Like, I think it's a great model. Like, and it's we don't ever in the church, we don't talk about that very often. That by being faithful and making important choices along the way, that it opens up other things for you that would not.
Yeah, there's not just one route,
Right.
And
exactly.
Yeah.
I think so,
yeah.
anyway.
There are many, many ways to serve the Lord.
And I think that's right, but we don't talk about it that way, right? Like we sort of we're locked into this one version of what it means to be an adult, right? And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, mine was pretty fun.
I'm glad you're in our life. I'm glad you're sharing that stuff with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
That was not nearly as awkward as I thought it was going to be. That's good.
No, totally not.
All right.
Way more awkward than I thought it was going to be.
I got a weird gauge on that stuff,
Yeah.
So this is another dumb one mostly, but it's for Jason because I know Jason will appreciate it and he's picking, so I'm going to go with this one. I got Apple Music finally. So it's I have like every song ever made basically on my phone, which is ridiculous because I hate like 90% of them, but they're there.
I don't even know what it is. Can you explain it?
Yeah, it's a streaming service through iTunes. So basically it's like our whole family gets it for like $15 a month. And then every month, So anything that's on iTunes is accessible on Apple Music.
Oh, okay.
So it's pretty. Calvin pushed me to get it, so we finally got around to doing it. And one of the things that you'll get a kick out of, Jason, is I got him "Slow Train Coming" for Christmas on vinyl, and he's all over Bob Dylan. He loves Bob Dylan now, so it's been fun. Like, it's been really cool because he's we've talked about this before, but the way different people love things, like I really like Bob Dylan, but I don't know anything about him other than these are like the 6 songs I really like. Yeah. Whereas like Calvin, like, oh, I love Bob Dylan, and now like here's the here's the 8,000 versions of this one song he played in London or something. It's like, oh
yeah, because
I can't keep up with the details of it, but that's
you got him that the blood on the, what's that? No More Troubles, that new box set thing.
No, I got him the just the old school record. Yeah, I found it online somewhere for Christmas. So
I think that might be my all-time favorite record.
I know you were saying that last year, and I was like, I guess that might be. And I was looking for some way to introduce him to better songwriting than like Ed Sheeran or somebody who's okay, but not like, it's like, how do you do that? And he got for his birthday, he got a record player, so he had been like playing around with that, and he likes a record player, and so we got him some other stuff, and then for Christmas we got him a couple of like jazz albums, and then that. So
yeah, and I think it was one of my 5 best the last time we were together. But that Trouble No More, I bet you that's on your iTunes or whatever.
It is.
That's amazing. I've been listening to that. That's still I think that's the top release of last year. Like I love that thing. Anyway, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that was super cool, and it's been fun to have that with Calvin, where we'll like, I'll every once in a while kind of blow his mind with something that's just like a random music trivia thing that he had no idea yet, and so it's opened up an area of conversation for us that's been really fun. Like we're talking about, he was DJing a Valentine's wedding for their youth group, or wedding, not Valentine's dance, and so he was trying to pick songs, and he picked what's you guys know the super popular Wagon Wheel song? Is it just Wagon Wheel? I can't remember the name of it, but that Bob Dylan wrote.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
That Bob Dylan wrote part of that. He was like, what? No way. So I've told him already, like, you just have to assume if it's a cover, Bob Dylan or Stevie Wonder, like, it's one of those two every time. Yeah. He doesn't believe it though. So anyway, but that's been a lot of fun. So throwing that one on there, that's my number 2.
Does that include movies?
No.
Oh. Apple Music, got it. I'm an idiot. Yep. Okay, got it. It's all in the title.
I didn't say it, but
I'm usually 15 seconds behind every. That was like a good 4 minutes behind. I should have just written
for a while before you got back in with that.
Right. That was my question the whole time, and then I realized I was going to say it.
Hey, so does Apple Music also have movies? Oh, I see what I did.
I see what I did there.
I'm a verbal processor, guys. Doesn't make much sense in here.
Is it me? Is it me on my 2? My 2
again, man. Number 2.
My 2 is Austin City Limits, the PBS thing. I've mentioned it a billion times, but since they've started up 2018, Jason Isbell and Amanda Shires. He's married. They're married. I didn't know that. Did you know that?
I did know that.
And they play together.
Yeah.
That just after this podcast, stop, cancel whatever you're doing, and look up that Austin City Limits. It's sick because the first half he does it, he sings and he does his songs, and she's doing backing vocals and playing the violin, and then switches and then she does her newest stuff, and he backs her. It's ridiculous. It's like the next level. I really, and you couldn't be more right. That Jason Isbell that album from last year, it's deep, it's good, it's got like so many layers of just beauty. Like that's so good. And she is the bomb. Like I didn't know that they were married. And last year there was like the bluegrass or Americana award ceremony, and she outshined everybody. And I didn't know. I was like, who is this? Who is this woman? Like, what the heck? Where did she come from? What is all this? And then it wasn't until this last week or last month or something, like the last couple of weeks, when they played at the Austin City Limits, the PBS TV program. I was like, man, I connected the dots and it all happened at once. And boom, man. They blew the roof off. They're just so good. They slow it down at the right times. They harmonize at the right times. She can play she plays the violin beautifully. And she's got an amazing, strong, beautiful, just her voice is ridiculous. It's like almost on the same level as Alison Krauss, in my opinion. But
she's on a bunch of their albums.
Yeah,
or his albums. She does the background vocals on almost all of them now. So,
and I've started to listen to some of her stuff, and he's on all of her stuff, and it's good.
Yeah. Have you ever listened to her stuff, B? I've never listened to her stuff that much.
No, but I want to watch this Austin City Limits because it's produced well and all that good stuff.
It's wicked good. And her, my favorite song of Jason Isbell is still that song about his daughter. White Man's World or whatever. And it's just even more powerful as you realize that the mother of that daughter is standing right next to her doing backing vocals. And then the favorite song of hers is she's singing about her love of him, and her what the takeaway line is any piece of land that you're on, I want to be there, or something like that. It's just I really like the way she phrases this. Just her love song is pretty darn good to him, and it's kind of cool that he's standing right there and playing slide guitar and just ripping it up. He's phenomenal at slide. He can pick it in any band just as a slide guitarist.
Yeah,
he's so good too. That's the power couple right there. Anyway, there's my two.
Yeah,
step back, Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch that one.
Nice. Okay. I like that Jason recommended music I can listen to. I appreciate that.
It's because you recommended it to me. That's why you like it. And honestly, I've been on the same kick as Calvin, man. I've been listening to Dylan like crazy. It's fun.
It's fun.
It'd be a winter thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll jump into mine. I don't know whether I wanted to talk about this serious book, but I'm not done with it yet, so I'll save that one. But then it's brand new. It only happened in the last 2 days, but there's this picture going around Twitter of a sketch artist of someone robbed somebody, and then this amateur sketch artist said it looks kind of like this guy, and then it was literally like a stick figure or something so stupid, and then they caught the guy and it actually looks like him. And every time I look at this picture, I'm doing this. It makes me bust out laughing every single time. So I don't know how you're gonna find it, but if you Google amateur sketch artists, it was in the Washington Post. It was one of the articles this morning as well. And it's making me laugh so much. It's giving me joy. And
there's only a way we could share it.
I know. I'll tweet it.
I'm just kidding. If there only
a way. And then one that's a little bit more accessible. One more that's a little bit more accessible is this SpaceX success of bringing back their rockets. Literally, it literally, I can feel my brain It's kind of like when I see a dog, I can feel my brain synapses being joy, 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 joy. So just watching those things land back on the planet Earth, I want to work for them. I want to be an astronaut. I want to get back into astronomy again. I just can't believe that we're in this time of age. Everyone should be so grateful that, even just private companies are caring about space travel and sustainable energy and bringing back your resources instead of just leaving them up as space junk, which your dad knows a lot about, Jay. He was talking to me about space junk before. It's just, oh man, it makes me really hopeful for the generations to come when it comes to our future in space. Where a lot of times when I think of like the terrestrial history going on right now, it makes me like less hopeful. But when I think of, you know, how science can really bring people together for the good, I think this SpaceX thing is just amazing. It brings me a lot of joy.
So let me get this right. Your 3 is the stick figure guy.
No,
in
it's SpaceX.
Yeah. But we should share that.
I will, because it'll bring me so much joy.
But
I just look at it and it makes me bust out. And I've seen it like 20 times and it still makes me laugh.
Jason, if you could go to Mars, would you go?
I would go in a second. I would love that. I love that SpaceX too. I've been kind of slow. Remember, I think 20 years ago, it was one of my grateful things. I'm working through Calvin's Institutes,
yeah,
and I'm still plowing through that just kind of slowly. But I'm doing it as meditative, and by far my favorite pieces of Calvin are his general revelation stuff. I love he gets all poetic, but one of the things that I stumbled across, I think it was 2 days ago, is when he's talking about the stars, and he says, it's so apparent the way that God created us like a vertical, like he created us to look up at the stars so that we might get to know our author. And then he says, like the animals are all downcast to eat pasture and like eat food and stuff like that. But we as images of our creator are made to look up and see our habitat, just so we can see who made our habitat. Like it's a cool piece of that it intertwines with that SpaceX. Like I get super excited about that SpaceX too. And plus all my buddies in LA, they keep launching stuff. And so they keep freaking out because like he's like it'll be fine. They'll be driving home in the rush hour traffic. And it looks like the end of the world because there's like this thing streaking across the sky. Like he sent like 10 satellites or something, and it looked like I'll text that. Ed, remember our buddy Ed? Ed Moreno, he lived with me for a while. He texted me this picture. It looks like something out of a movie. That was
I saw that.
Everyone the LA sky.
Because of it was like a weird cloud. It didn't look like a normal plane, kind of.
Yeah, it was gnarly. I'll text you right after this.
I have like
whenever I find my phone.
Like no desire to go to Mars.
Really?
Yeah. Like you personally, or like humanity? Yeah.
Well, I don't care about either one, to be honest. I for sure don't want to go. I got no desire, and then I don't get the appeal of it as a race, but
yeah, I feel like Mars is one slice of it when I say that I'm hopeful. I mean, I think it's all of it. It's like exploring space. It's asking the question, what happens when we deplete this place? You know, it's all of it. It's not just Mars.
Yeah, I
think that's pretty cool. Just being smart about what we have just brings me joy.
I like that. I like the self-driving cars, and I like the solar panels.
Panels, man.
You should talk to your buddy Phil Saul, Pastor Phil Saul, about self-driving.
He does not like the self-driving cars.
No, he does not. He's thinking about all those truck drivers.
He's never like
gonna lose their jobs.
Yeah. He never sounds more like an old man than when he's arguing about self-driving cars.
Does he listen to this? I hope he
Probably not.
We'll tell him to listen to this one.
We'll tell him to listen to this one, though. He gets a shout out. All right, my last one. I was trying to figure out the right way into this one. I think culturally we're living at a strange time where all of a sudden a lot of people from a lot of different slices of life are starting to ask questions about what truth is again. And I like it almost is like the last 10 or 15 years, maybe 20 years, there's just been this like slow kind of movement. And then all of a sudden somebody looked around and said, wait a second, this doesn't make any sense. like the narratives that we've been telling ourselves, like these are weird. Like these don't make any sense. Or like we've just believed a bunch of things that are just weird things to believe now. What should we actually be believing? And it's a really interesting time, I think, for the church, because it's hard to figure out where to put our allegiances and where to I think the intersection of like gospel and culture is a really weird place right now. That it's that the church has made friends in places along the way that they can't keep anymore, and that's all sounds really cryptic, right? I didn't do a very good job of explaining it. Well, it's all general, right? But like, I've been really interested in. Have you guys seen any of this stuff with the professor from Toronto, Jordan Peterson? Like, now that I say his name, you guys are gonna see him everywhere because he's everywhere all the time right now. It's pretty nuts. But there's like this movement of fairly conservative guy, and he's actually not super conservative, but he's attacking sort of progressive liberalism on one side, and then the alt-right on another side. And I think one of the things, Jason, you and I talked about it a long time ago when Trump was elected. Like, one of the things I was hoping for was that it would cause like almost a revolution in American politics, where we just couldn't sit comfortably in the spots we'd already been in for a long time. And I don't know. I'm not sure it's actually happening, but I'm hopeful that it's happening. And so one of the things, so I don't know how you name that all the way or recognize it all the way, but it feels like we're at the start of having to figure out again how to articulate this stuff and figure, like, there are elements of our culture that believe things that Christians believe, right? And then there's elements of our culture that believes things that Christians don't believe. And so I think we're going to have to get better at articulating when and where we're going to throw our weight around. And my real hope in all of that is that the church just decides it doesn't want power at all, that it's just willing to serve. But
same as the US.
I suspect that won't be the case. But it is. I do appreciate the conversations now. There's quite a bit out there and going on that I don't know. I'm really, it's an interesting time on that front. And I'm sure that'll show up again throughout the year. But for me, like, my third one is just that I think there's a re-interest again in what truth is and the ways in which truth plays itself out. So
yeah. Going off of that, I feel like I have a sermon title in me and this like want to do a sermon, not for middle schoolers, but about the sacred and the profane, and just going off of what everyone's seeing every single day of their life. You know, in the church and then in politics, in the news, every single day you're asked this question, well, what's sacred then? Well, what's profane then? You know, and I don't know what the point of the sermon would be or where I would go with it, but I've got this desire to want to write something down about a little bit about what you're saying, but yours is more about truth, but I think it gets at
it's the same. Yeah, it's the same stuff.
That's really neat. That lights a fire, and that's fun. That's I'm in full accord. I echo that same stuff, because I was just noticing just a little while ago, Jimmy Kimmel, he's fighting for all these right things,
right?
And a lot of times he is saying the gospel message, you know, love others because they're created by God. But he's leaving out the God part. But then he's switching, and there's all this. It's a dichotomy, because then there's all these religious right people that are just saying crazy, weird stuff. And it's definitely not coming in with concert. Did you see that? There was some lady that came out that said, you know, you shouldn't have the flu shot because Jesus is our flu shot. Yeah. Or something. And that was like a story right after Jimmy Kimmel was like, he was saying the gospel, and then he was saying these people that are supposed to be saying the gospel are just so dumb, you know, like it was just that. And then that commercial, that Selling Dodge commercial with the gospel, man. With the gospel message preached by Martin Luther King, like it had like I made the kids watch that commercial just because I love Martin Luther King Jr. so much, and I love that. That's just straight up truth. Like, that's gospel truth. Like, if we fill our lives with grace and we serve,
and Dodge trucks.
No, but then they tack on that's what Dodge.
Right. So that's exactly the thing, right? That's exactly what I'm starting to recognize more. I think
hijacking our message, you know, saying this truck is built to serve, but we are built to serve. Anyway, I was like, that's crazy.
So if we were charting it out, I feel like when I was a young person, I was taught that culture just hated us, right? That culture, there was mainstream culture, and they existed to be antithetical to the church, and they didn't care about the gospel at all.
Yeah.
Then I started to pay
Christ
attention to the
culture.
culture and was like, wait a second, that's a weird position to take towards culture. That culture actually has all these like moments of redemptive truth sort of all over the place, and we should pay attention to those things. And you do that way more than I do, Jason, but still there's like we sort of share that, right? That there's these spots of beauty and goodness and truth. And then I think it, for whatever reason, and I like have been different places along the way there, but for whatever reason, I think it just became, we can kind of take all of this stuff wholesale, right? That there's just nothing, there's nothing really dangerous here for us. We can just take culture in, and it won't, it doesn't have any hooks in it, right? Like there's nothing wrong about this. And then now I think we're starting to see like a little bit of a like, oh, wait a second, not everything the news tells me is true. Wait a second, not everything the pop culture shares makes sense. Like, and that, yeah, sure, like Jimmy Kimmel can say something that's really true and helpful and profound and gospel, right? And the very next second make, you know, an inappropriate joke about something else, right? So it doesn't mean it rules that other stuff out, but I think it's an awareness that, oh, we have like, our intentionality around what we consume entertainment wise has to sort of regrow itself, because I think we've gone whole stretches of time without ever thinking about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something there.
I like it.
Yeah.
I think you know, through what you just said, I'm recalled to just recognize the teeth, you know, recognize you can't, you know, there's a goodness to that Dodge commercial, but the teeth of it, of selling, you know, like turning the sacred into consumerism, like that's messed up. And unless you got to call that out, otherwise we're in some serious trouble. And I think
okay, you just helped me with this one. So the piece that you're naming there for me is Dodge would never have made that commercial 20 years ago, right? Like, and not it's we've gone so far the direction that the appearance of gospel, or like the language of gospel, or the appearance of somebody like Martin Luther King is enough to be oh, this will help us sell trucks now, right? Like that's not danger. Dodge doesn't feel danger around the gospel, right? The gospel doesn't confront Dodge the way like that. Dodge could sort of happily go into making that commercial, means they're not confronted or challenged by that gospel at all, right?
Yeah.
And that's problematic.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
Yep.
Sorry.
How could that? What were you grateful for in that?
I'm grateful for that recovery, for like the recovery that the maybe the prophetic witness of the gospel or something like that. I don't know.
I like when things get real shook up and you can't deny it. You got to say something. Things get shooken up so much. You have to say something. And I would rather be in that place than everyone just quietly sitting still as not to shake anything.
That's right. That's exactly it.
I think I'm with you, and I agree. That's awesome. Did anybody catch that Rose McGowan? She's a singer of Garbage, right? She was on
Rose McGowan is an actress.
She's an actress.
Okay, Shirley, who's the singer of Garbage?
Shirley.
Rose McGowan with the shaved head. She has a shaved head now and just came out with a book.
She's the one really starting out the Me Too, the hashtag Me Too.
Yeah. Did anybody catch her on Colbert?
No.
She was naming this. She was just saying the bus is on fire. The bus is on fire and we're not doing anything. It's time to start like shaking things up and start doing stuff. It was in concert with what you're grateful for. I just love that. I like that too. All right, my third thing. Man, there's so many things. You could almost fill in the blank right there. I always say that. There's so many things. We haven't met in like 20 years. So I think I've been getting in the habit of asking my congregants, asking just people I like in my life what their favorite book is. And did I do this the last time? Did I already do a Louis L'Amour book?
Nope, you're good.
Okay.
I think you did a Louis because you didn't know how to spell Louis.
Okay. Dang it. All right, let's scratch that. You have to cut right there. Okay.
No,
I haven't done
Louis-
one in a lifetime.
Louis Everly.
Yeah, you didn't do Louis L'Amour.
Oh,
good.
okay.
You have a lot of Louis
I
in your
did
life. This is one we haven't heard from. Yeah.
Yeah, this is okay. Good. I don't even remember the name of it though. Hold on. It's a Louis L'Amour book, and I just read it, and it's phenomenal. It was just it was a
Yeah,
survival.
Louis
one.
L'Amour can write some books, man.
He can, and this was Ernie Fordham. He's my home builder at McGrath Memorial Congregational Church, and he recommended this, and it was called the last of its breed, or the last breed, last of his breed, I think is what it is, and it's about this Native American who is like special forces, and he's trapped behind enemy lines in Russia, and it's during the Cold War, and it's a survival, and it's wicked. It's really, I won't spoil it, but it's just, I love survival books, and I love people who can write like a Banshee, and then it's this combination of those two, and it was really good. And I checked off. This is a new kind of one of my favorite habits, is just asking people, "What's your favorite book?" and then reading it. You know.
I like that. That's a good discipline.
Yeah. Last of his breed, I think. Let me double check on that.
You reminded me. I had a guy in my Bible study for years who kept yelling at me to read the book Dune, and I just never read it. And
because the movie was long.
Yeah, and he died like a year ago. And then like almost on the same day that he died a year ago, I was at a Goodwill and found a copy of Dune for like $2. So I finally read the entire series of Dune now, or like the entire trilogy of Dune.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the commitment.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those, I read really fast. We've been over that before, but like,
oh yeah.
So it, like fiction is super easy.
Yeah,
so
I just read the whole Harry Potter in the last 15
Yeah. So I mean, you know what I'm talking about, Jason.
So you read it and you liked it.
I read it. The first book is great. The second book is really good, and the third book is kind of crap. But as a series, it's really good. I can see why people like it.
Last of the Breed. That's the name. I double checked it. It's not the Last of His Breed. It's Last of the Breed.
Last of the Breed.
Yep.
My dad's a huge Louis L'Amour fan.
L'Amour.
That guy wrote like 400 books or something.
Yeah, he wrote mainly Westerns, right?
Yeah, mostly Westerns.
All right, now I pick, right?
Yes. You pick.
Okay. I'll but I won't go in particular order. I'll go McGrath, just because they love me like crazy, and just them saying goodbye to me has just been healing for my soul. It's been awesome. I'll go iTunes Music, just because you were fishing for that. You were fishing for that, Dylan. I love it. I love Calvin. That guy's awesome. Good job. Good job, your son. I'll do Bianca's mission trip with Ma. I love that.
That's cool.
And can I throw two of hers in one wedding? Yep. The wedding one too.
Yeah, it's family travels. Yeah, because family travels. That's
family travels. Family travels. I'll do Austin City Limits from myself. Just because I think every single person should stop whatever they're doing right now and go look up that episode and listen to that. And then fifth, just the tension, whatever your third one was. The tension of just the shock to this country of Trump winning. And hopefully it rattles loose something, truth. And I like how the way Bianca put it of serving. I hope serving and truth come out of it as a conversation piece, and I hope the church can weed through all the mess and and get better at serving and truth. There it is.
There it is, man.
There's the five. There's the five best.
Five. Nice.
There used to be 5 best, but now it's 5 gratitudes.
That's our 5 best, and that sets us up for what, B?
B-sides.
B-sides.
I hope you're putting on the song right now. Okay, this I'm stealing from one of my favorite podcasts called The Podcast. But it was so good, and I want to hear what you say. And it's very minimal. It's not like we're gonna like know your entire personality just by this one answer, but I find it interesting.
Good.
What do you think is the better small goodness? Okay. Warming your hands by a hot fire on a cold day, or a glass of a cold drink on a hot day?
Yeah.
What do you think? Where are you at? I guess I could have come
I'm
up
comfortable
with
answering if you don't mind if I go first on this one.
I don't mind.
Because there's zero chance anything beats drinking an ice cold Coca-Cola when it's really hot out. That's
okay, that's correct. I'm not gonna
mine.
I'm not gonna second guess it.
I used to mow lawns for a living, and like when you're like doing yard work, and it's like, man, if I could just get to the end of the day, I can have that sweet, delicious Coca-Cola, ice cold, and it's like it's perfect. It's like the best thing in the world.
Sweet, delicious Coca-Cola. Are you hashtag ad right
now?
Yeah.
Also, this week in gratitude brought to you by Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Don't forget to buy you.
Don't forget to pick up your Coca-Cola.
What's the on Talladega Nights on the front of his windshield? What was that? It was Mountain Dew. He was like, I love Mountain Dew and it's delicious, but this has got to be dangerous. Because his stickers across the front. Anyway,
there's also a great Wayne's World bit in there somewhere. You'll see it again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Little yellow.
Which one do you like? And re-say the question. What's the better?
Okay.
Oh man.
What? Yeah, the better small pleasure. Warming your hands by a
small pleasure.
Or what did they call it? Better.
You said
I like
goodness
the small pleasure.
Goodness, yeah.
No, I think you said
they
pleasure.
call it something else though, but I can't remember. I forget what they call it, but this is the better feeling. Warming your hands by a hot fire on a cold day. Hot fire, that's a little redundant. Or a glass of a cold drink on a hot day.
Yeah, that one's for sure better.
Well,
I think I'm gonna go. I'm going warming your hands by a fire on a cold day. I hate being cold.
I don't like being cold either.
And so any respite, I probably was looking forward to that the entire time I was actually cold. And then my little hands, sometimes when I'm making tea because my house is cold, I put my hands over the stove.
Yeah,
like
but the only problem with the fire one, in my estimation, is that you approach the fire and then you get too hot. Right? Like
no, you can change your distance.
I know, but you have to keep adapting it.
Here's
the drinking one. You can sit on a porch and drink sweet tea.
But you could still be hot.
No, that's the best.
See, I think the drinking in the hot isn't pleasure. It's quenching. It's
little pleasure.
It's I'm miserable, and if I don't have something to drink, I'm going to be angry.
That's hot. That's hot. Yeah, I hear you.
I could see that.
And so there's less pleasure in it, But when I'm freezing, or when I'm cold, and right now it's below zero with wind chill out here in Michigan, and so when I get a warm fire, like warming up my soul, there's pleasure found in it. Like when I'm cold, I'm not miserable, or grumpy. I'm just cold. Like, I don't know. I seem like I'm not as angry. I think heat, it brings out anger in me. So,
but not the good kind of heat that would make you less cold.
Yeah, like when I'm too hot, like my summers. We've all agreed that summer is the worst season, no matter where you live in this world.
We've agreed on that.
We did talk.
I think we have.
Yeah.
I think we
agreed.
I feel like I fakely need to like this. Except for Seattle.
I hate being hot. I hate being hot. I hate it. I hate it with
That's how I feel about cold. So that's why, to me,
you turn the heater up. That's what the cold. That's what I like about the cold. I sleep better when it's cold because then you can just cover blankets up. Anyway. So
Wait, Jason, did you choose one?
long
Did you
story
choose?
short,
Yeah, he's taking the fire. He's taking the fire.
I was distracted. Yeah, I'm gonna do fire just because the word pleasure and goodness. But I think it vibes more with me, with fire warming me in the coldness.
Hey, for what it's worth,
Better
B,
little
I also
pleasure.
went back and listened to the podcast for favorite holiday song.
Yeah,
That's one of the great podcasts of all time.
I know,
That was a
such
delight.
good one. They're still referring to it.
Yeah,
even
that was
now.
a delight.
They're
That was-
taking a little bit of Michael Shear's taking a little break because he has a new show coming out with Shea Serrano, which we talked about. So the podcast now is mostly the other guy, but whatever.
Whatever. Awesome. Thank you guys for listening. That was B-Sides, and we are done with This Week in Gratitude. We hope you are enjoying your weeks and that there are things you are grateful for. Let us know what they are. You can tweet us at Week in Gratitude on Twitter, and you can also tweet me specifically at Outpostings if you would like. And you could track down Bianca and Jason in any number of formats outside of that. So please subscribe, please like, and we will see you guys all next week.
Bye.
Or next month, depending.
Yeah,
on how long this
seriously. Next week, that was a tall order.
Listen, I put it up.